would you say if I told you that major media companies, those who are allegedly proponents of free speech and the First Amendment, what if I told you they are instructing their hosts to do stupid media? What if I told you hosts are being muzzled and told not to talk about the dangerous transvestite movement geared toward children? They're being told to ignore everything the government is doing to make your lives markedly worse. They're being told to ignore the activities of politicians under the guise that nobody wants to hear about these things. The management in these major media companies claim that all of you sheep out there, all you want to hear about is sports scores, the latest movie to be cranked out of an ever-depraved Hollywood, UFOs, or how the price of eggs are skyrocketing. Now, on that last part, hosts are allowed to talk about the cost of everything going up, from gas prices that have climbed over 20 cents a gallon in less than a month to the outrageous cost of food. But those same hosts are not allowed to explain why, what our government is doing to cause all of this. This is the level of disrespect and, frankly, contempt that has been commonplace in the press for years. But now it's seeping into once conservative-only realms. It's an all-out effort to kill conservative opinion. Take a stand for freedom while you still can. That's our advice in today's preamble. It is my sad duty to report that a growing number of Republicans have adopted the view held by most Democrats that we, the people, are too stupid to be trusted with all the facts. Naturally, those Republicans seek to protect their Democrat friends so that those Democrats can continue to unleash harm onto GOP voters. An example, a recent vote, 20 House Republicans sided with Adam Schiff, a man who weaponized the Intelligence Committee against the GOP, in several areas of government, but especially in intelligence. Politics had been verboten in past years. Those arenas needed to be free of politics in an effort to protect all Americans, Democrats and Republicans. But that was BO before Obama. After his occupation of the Oval Office, Democrats became really emboldened to shred the Constitution, shred our governmental and societal norms in an effort to destroy our representative republic. Adam Schiff has been and is an Obama disciple. A censure with a financial penalty would have provided disincentive for future Democrats to unethically and dangerously use government for their political advantage. But guess what? That didn't happen. This rebel GOP faction has been siding with Democrats over their own voters for some time now. These liberal Republicans used to be sequestered in a minority. Now, they're the GOP leadership, led by Mitch McConnell and John Cornyn. 18 GOP senators voted to fully fund the Democrats' anti-American agenda at the border, in our military, the corruption of our once trusted agencies, and an America Last foreign policy. Through an unnecessarily obscene omnibus vote, they did this to us. It is this growing uniparty dynamic that has led GOP voters to raise the alarm, and satirical sites like the Babylon Bee to lampoon a GOP leadership that prizes pleasing leftists in the Democrat Party over fidelity to GOP voters. The talented writers at the Bee lamenting that Speaker McCarthy says the 783rd impeachable offense by Biden, that's going to be the last straw. This, of course, references the fact that Democrats had already impeached Trump by now, knowing there would be no conviction in the Senate, and were well on their way to a second impeachment of Trump. The Democrats used the political impeachment process to thwart Trump's pro-rule of law, America First agenda. Many conservatives are asking why the GOP won't do the same to stop Joe Biden's pro-Marxist, pro-China agenda. We're awaiting Trump's third indictment, as many of you know, as stated, that's based on flimsy and whimsical allegations based on left-wingers' desire to jail their political opponents rather than meet them on the battlefield of ideas. But Devon Archer gave testimony today inexplicably behind closed doors about his relationship with Hunter Biden and to the extent to which Joe Biden, a vice president, was involved in criminal influence peddling. Despite myriad FD 1023s, despite Joe Biden's well-established quid pro Joe moniker, despite all the reporting from reputable sources about the FBI's slow walking and corroboration of some of these allegations, the biased press claims, well, there's no evidence against Joe Biden here. But Americans know that there's more evidence against Biden than there has been in the sham indictments or the 2 illegitimate impeachments combined against Trump. And Americans' innate sense of right and wrong is kicking in. Even NBC can't hide the fact that with every desperate attempt to cover up permanent Washington's abuse, illegality, and corruption, President Trump and those like him in the GOP field and in elected office are the only ones playing it straight. And even though pro-Democrat Republicans are hoping the unprecedented number of attacks against Trump will have their intended effect to scare people away from supporting the America First agenda, even left-wingers concede it's just not working.
So what's your thoughts on the Republican base, understanding that sticking with Trump actually means they're not going to win against Biden next year?
You know, Michael, I don't know that that's what it means. I mean, this is the terrifying part, right? Will Hurd makes the argument that the reason Republicans have to move away from Trump is because if they nominate Trump, he'll lose. And that would be nice to think. I would like to think that, nominating a guy who's been indicted twice and will be indicted again would lead to him losing. But right now, Trump is running 5 points ahead of where he was in 2020 against Biden. I am absolutely not convinced that even a Trump under criminal indictment is a surefire loser against Biden.
Yeah, because Biden is an angry leftist who's a few burritos short of a combination plate, who has allowed unelected Team Obama to run the country into the ground in Joe Biden's name, something that President Trump is focused on in his most recent campaign ad.
What do you call someone this weak? Someone caught in a bribery scandal that made them millions, complicit in a government cover-up, and uses your government to get special deals for his family? You call them Joe Biden. And acting just like a corrupt third-world dictator, Biden has unleashed a cadre of unscrupulous government bureaucrats he controls to act like rabid wolves and attack his greatest threat, launching one of the greatest witch hunts in history.
And the Democrats' corruption of our most trusted institutions is earning this government the reputation it deserves. Less than 1/3 of American registered voters have a favorable view of the Justice Department, according to a recent Harvard Capps Harris poll, meaning over 2/3 of our people have lost trust in America's government after the Democrats have tainted it. Not only do I, your liberty-loving Latino, think that Americans deserve to know what's going on in their country, they also deserve to know why and who is making these consequential decisions that are having such a harmful impact on all of our lives. The Chris Salcedo Show doesn't do stupid media. I think it's why we are supported by Americans who want to preserve this last best hope of mankind on planet Earth, and why we are hated by those who really couldn't care less.